Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the LaunchDay Shorts podcast. I'm your host, Dean Cvetkoski, a.k.a. WhoDean. And today in studio, we've got, he's got this brilliant smile. I absolutely love it. I've been staring at it this whole time, but you'll find that he's not actually a dentist. He's in optometry. Right. So it's crazy. He's got this big smile, but let me tell you, vision is where he's at. And this man has the vision. Let me tell you, let me introduce you to Darran Yeow. Darran, how you doing, man?
Yeah, really good, Dean. Thanks so much for having me, mate. Appreciate it.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you so much for coming along. Darran, look, we've had some conversations in passing in the past, and we've crossed shoulders and pathways, a couple of times through our journeys, but we haven't really had, a really good opportunity to get to know each other. And what I'd really love to know, who's Darran? Like, who are you? Run me through that. Who are you? What are you up to? What are you doing?
Yeah, look for me, as you mentioned, I'm an optometrist. Studied optometry, went to university, and like every good Asian, worked hard in school and studied hard and got into a pretty good course. I always wanted to, growing up, always wanted to help people. That was always my main focus. And growing up, I actually wanted to be a pediatrician. So I loved kids and really wanted to help them from a health perspective. Unfortunately, I didn't get into medicine, one of those medical rejects, I suppose, and wanted to stay in the health profession. And optometry was something that I thought was something that I could do and still be able to help people and make a difference in people's lives. And what's more important in terms of from a functional and a sense perspective, but your vision. So studied optometry, went over to South Australia for a couple of years after graduating and really learnt the ropes in country South Australia. And then spent a year in Africa doing volunteer optometry work for 12 months with Red Cross, with different sort of local NGOs as well. And that was an eye opener. There's always something I wanted to do. I'd always had an interest in Africa, particularly helping African children. Worked in or did some volunteer work in orphanages as well. And that really, for the first time, I suppose, having that exposure to what life outside of Australia is really like. Because here in Australia we live pretty blessed life. Most people are pretty lucky in everything that we do, all the facilities and I guess the opportunities that we have. But being over in Africa, there's not, vision was certainly one part of it, and that's what I was doing majority of the time. But there's so many other facets to a person's life. Just a roof over your head, food, obviously, clean water, all those kind of things. So I came back and continued on my optometry career and really enjoyed it. But after probably about maybe 10 years, started to get a little bit stale, started to feel like I was doing the same thing. And then decided I wanted to become an entrepreneur and I wanted to have my own business. I really wanted to run practices or run optometry or practice the way optometry I felt should be practiced and took over a practice in Dingley. And then a few years later, also took over one in Richmond here in Melbourne. So we've got two optometry practices. And the same thing, I guess it renewed my passion. I said this the other day to some optometry funding students. It renewed my passion for optometry, gave me a new perspective on what it's all about. And for me, it's all about helping people and particularly with their health. And what's more important, as I said before, than vision, because without vision, it's really hard to function. It's things that we take for granted, certainly day to day, unfortunately. But once lost, you can't replace it, right? So absolutely. I think, one of the core messages I want to bring to every day is just be very mindful that while it's working great, amazing. But one of my roles is to make sure that people are aware that there are things you can do to look after your eyes, obviously for now and also for the future. But also, things can be creeping up over time that you might not be aware of that could, hamper or take away your vision or lose part of your vision. And that's what I really am keen to share that message with people, is to be very mindful that if there is anything going on, the only real way to pick that up would be to have regular eye tests, to see your optometrist and to get checked. And our role as optometrists is to make sure that we pick things up that are going to be issues or that currently could be an issue, and then help give you the education and give you the knowledge to be able to take the right steps, take the right measures, and find the right solutions to ensure that you continue to have great vision for the rest of your life, because it's about quality of life, right, Dean? So
Absolutely.
without great vision, it makes it harder to enjoy really full, fulfilling life. And if we can help every person, or as many people as we can, to ensure that they still have great vision, they can still live the life they want to live, still do the things they want to do, from a work perspective, from a life perspective as well. And, further from that, I guess, being quite an experienced optometrist and now business owner for over 10 years, it's about, okay, well, what's the next step in my career, and what's the next step that I want to take and share with other health professionals, not just optometrists, but dentists or doctors, physios, chiros, anyone in that sort of health space, because most people obviously became a health professional because they wanted to help people. They wanted to impact the world. They wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And they give and they give and they give. And what happens over time is that maybe they tend to burn out a little bit. They maybe start to not enjoy that role as much because they're having to give all the time. And one of the things I want to make sure is that people are aware that it's okay to take a moment, take some time out, look after yourself as well. I mean, I know you've spoken about it in the past, Dean, with yourself and your own health issues, right? Like if you're not healthy, you're not well mentally, physically, or whatever, then how can you keep giving to people? Eventually you'll deplete yourself, you'll be empty, and you won't be able to give anymore. So it's about continuing to do what you do, but at a sustainable level, both, from a financial standpoint, in business, you want to make sure that your business is still running really well. You want to make sure you're still a viable financial, business that can continue to serve the community, continue to serve people for now and absolutely in the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I find it really special when we can go and take an experience and then apply it to the rest of our lives. I think that's one thing that stands out for me, is that you got involved with some philanthropy and some really great causes. And then that opened up your eyes to seeing things differently in your business and how you can help more people. And I think, that for me is probably, I feel like if I was a health professional and I was looking for someone like you, I really feel like that should be part of that journey and experience. If I was to be mentored, or like that, to me was probably the biggest thing that stood out, was being able to go and see the world differently and then come home and then see my world differently. I think that's a powerful statement. You know what I mean? I really do think that.
It's funny, because when I went over to Africa, I took, spent my own money essentially, spent my own time, and used all my savings to be able to do that. And look, it's still one of the best years, if not the best year of my life, both from a professional standpoint. You can learn so much, be exposed to so much, but at the same token, as a person, growing up, over there, and being challenged in different scenarios and situations, and meeting different people, different cultures, different food. You learn so much about yourself as well. But then the same token, coming back, I used up all my own money. At the end of the year, I had nothing left. And how can you help? I couldn't help anyone after that. Like I couldn't go back there and continue to help people because I ran out of funds.
Hey, yes, I'm talking to you, and I know it looks like the interview, but it's actually not. We're taking a really quick, short break so that way you can hear me out. I really want you to hear me out here. If you are a business owner, you are building your personal brand. I mean, you could be anyone. You could be a real estate agent. You could be an astronaut, an IT professional. It really doesn't matter who you are and where you fit into the world. This interview is great for you. If you're really struggling to make content, and let's face it, right? When we get our phones out and we're like, taking selfies and doing videos that way, it just comes across as inauthentic. And the other side of that as well is the fact that it's just so hard to come up with ideas of what kind of content to create. And this is where our interviews absolutely bring a powerhouse and an arsenal of, basically a war chest in terms of your organic content marketing that you're creating. We create the TikToks and Reels for you. Here's the thing. I've got some great news. The great news is that this interview is completely free. We boost your SEO on Google. because we go and feature these videos like the one you're watching on YouTube. And not only that, but we also give you free content to post to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all the rest of it as well. So if you haven't already, in the description down below is a link to Linktree, where you'll see the opportunity for you to book your very own interview and get free content for your personal brand or your business as well. I'll see you on the other side of the screen.
So it's like you said, bringing that to business and also in life. Like you have to have that financial backing. So in business, you need to make sure that you are still a viable business entity, that you can still turn on the lights every day. You still need to be profitable, and profit's not a bad word, but a lot of health professionals tend to feel like, that they're a bit of a salesperson, or they're a cop out, or, it's evil to make money in business. But if you're not profitable, then how can you continue to invest in your own education, in your team's education, in the equipment that you need to continue to help more people, right? So I think for me, and thank you for giving me the platform today, it's to make everyone aware, those that want to help and surely help as many people as possible. You need to make sure you look after yourself, and you need to make sure, you can continue to live the lifestyle you want to, so that you continue to help more and more people.
You can't, everyone says the cup analogy, right? Like you can't fill up anyone else's cup if your cup is not full. But let's face it, right? As entrepreneurs, we don't have cups, we have jugs, right? And because, we're not just filling up one other cup, we're filling up many. And so, you're absolutely right. You can buy a bigger jug. You can get a bigger jug. That doesn't change the fact that there's no water in it. So you absolutely, no matter how big your jug is, you cannot fill other people's cups if your cup's not full, right? Or if your jug's not full. Because let's face it, we're helping, and our goals as entrepreneurs is helping not just, tens, not just hundreds, but thousands of people. And those thousands of people, that's a big fucking jug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
So if your jug's not full, it's no good,
You're not going to be able to help a limited number of people, right? So you need to be overflowing. So hence you've got to look after yourself, right? In terms of sleeping, or doing all the rituals or routines that work for you, whether it be meditation, whether it be continuing to grow and develop your own self. So continue to learn, evolving from other people, reading, mentors, things that will continue to help elevate you as well, because then you can continue to inspire more people, can continue to help more people in a more rounded and a more holistic way. If you only focus, for example, say on optometry, and there's only one aspect of things as a clinician, but what about, communication? What about leadership? What about all these other things you can do to help even more people, right? Because like you said, we don't want to just help 100,000. We want to help tens and hundreds of, and hopefully millions of people. And that's
absolutely
that's the aim, right, for everyone. And entrepreneurs, particularly, want to solve a problem. That's what we do. We want to try and find a solution for every problem. So I think if the only way to do that is to make sure you bring your A game every day, making sure that you are at the top of your game as much as you can most of the time. Knowing that we're all human after all. But having that opportunity to be able to help people and expand that jug, but it's got to be full for you to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the important things there as well is money. And so again, profits, especially in the eyes of consumers as well. And if there are consumers that are going to be watching this that think profits are bad, profits give that person the ability to give you more. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's not like a lot of these entrepreneurs, they're not greedy, not all of them at least anyway.
No.
But, they're not greedy. Like a lot of us, I don't know, like you're talking about philanthropy, on my side, there's philanthropy involved with, what I'm doing and where I'm going.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I want to use my money to power that philanthropy. So, as consumers, it's, if you want more out of the people that you're paying and that you're buying from, then them making profit is an important part of it. You see this a lot with cafes and restaurants, and they're not making lots of profit, so they cut corners. The quality of their service and food goes down, and then you don't go there anymore, and they've shot themselves in the foot. So if someone raises their prices, it's probably because they want to provide more value to you, not because they want to make more money from you. So that's such an important thing. And a lot of these entrepreneurs don't get that. They don't understand that. So it's like, don't be afraid of making profits, because it empowers you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, you'd like to think most entrepreneurs and most people, get into the industry or get into the business because they want to find a way to help more people, right? And they want to do it their way. They think that they have a solution that's going to work for a lot of people. So that's why they get into business. And then, if, like you said, if you have a business that's losing money consistently, then that business is going to fail. And then how many people can you help? So you need to have a viable business model that works for everyone, because you want to continue to invest in your team. You want to continue to reward your team at the same time as well. And and as an entrepreneur, you need to make sure that you're able to fuel yourself and live a lifestyle that works for you. And it's what you do with that money as well. It's not just about making money for the sake of making money. It's making money and then investing that money either in your own growth, in your team's growth, in your team's education, in better services, better products, providing better value, whether, better equipment. A lot of patients come into our practice and go, wow, all this equipment that you've got, it must have cost you a bomb. And it does. Like, none of that comes for free, right? We have to continue to invest in all the equipment, so we give you the best treatments, the best solutions, the best products. And without profit, we can't do that. We can't do it to the level that we want to. And we want to continue to provide better and better service for our patients and better care for our patients. We don't want to have to say, okay, well, you get this amount of service because that's all we can afford to give you. We want to make sure we can give you everything that the industry can offer, and making sure you get the best of everything, so that you're better looked after, and then therefore you can perform your role better at work or at home, and therefore you can give and live a better life, so that it's just that domino effect, right? If we can help someone, for example, if I can help a doctor see better and operate better, then they can save more lives, right? And
that's exactly right.
Save more lives, and that person can go on and do more, this, and this, and this. And that's just that. It's always pay it forward, but in a slightly different way. And if we all just, we all want ultimately to have a great life and live a great life, and most importantly, live a fulfilling life. And, for me and for a lot of people, it's about, like I said, helping people and making sure that whatever skill set we have, we find a way to help more and more people, and making money or making profit is part of that.
Absolutely. And, for your everyday entrepreneur as well, that's listening to this, going back to the vision component and taking care of yourself, you hear about it a lot with kids, right? Kids are struggling with schoolwork. They have trouble concentrating, things like that. And then in those situations, they do an eye test. After they do an eye test, they find out that, they've obviously got, I don't know the technical terms, you'd know better, but they've got blurred vision. They need glasses, and then suddenly now you're starting to see a better performance from them in their education, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, completely, man. You're right.
Why is it that, we go, especially when it comes to our children, we're like, yeah, okay, let's go take them to an optometrist and see what's wrong. But as adults, especially as adults and entrepreneurs, we neglect that fact to actually go and get the right, advice. Because, it might be ever so slightly blurry, and you might think that's normal. And you're like, oh yeah, it's been forever, don't worry, whatever. But then imagine how much more focused you could be if you could actually, and not just focused, how much more productive if you just went and got your eyes checked, or you actually took care of your health. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to me.
It's funny. I suppose for most people, we take our vision for granted, and use the example for children, absolutely. But the same token, even in Australia, which is a developed country, the percentage of people that go and get their eyes tested and have their children's vision tested is not that high. And given the access that we have and the availability of optometrists, which is a bit of a shame, because, touched on children, absolutely, children, the main medium that they take in information at school is vision, right? Is visually. Yeah. So that is compromised, then they potentially are going to be compromising their ability to learn, to be, the ability to be educated, and then for them to develop and grow. And if you struggle at school, a lot of kids then suffer issues with confidence and self-belief, and that just continues to cascade down for their own, downward spiraled for their own personality,
Right.
and that they carry that with them, later in life. But the good thing about it's not just glasses, Dean, but there's contact lenses, there's things like ortho-K or braces for your eyes that you can wear as well these days, and we can actually treat children, and we can actually make a difference, not like for their future. In terms of what I mean by that is there is treatments now available that helps to slow down progression of their eyesight, or deterioration of their eyesight, which we never had when I was growing up. And that's something that, again, that innovation, that that investment in technology and finding better solutions and better ways to help more people is massive. And that's one of the things that we're really big here in Sight for Life, here in the practice we work at, is making sure that we give our kids the confidence, even if for some children they don't like wearing glasses, so giving them the ability to wear contact lenses, it just changes again that perception, that changes that confidence, gives them that self-belief. They can play sport, to a better capacity. They can do more things and get outdoors and be more active without necessarily having to be, hidden by glasses or be, hampered or hindered by glasses. But same token, you mentioned about adults and entrepreneurs and just as a general population, if we aren't working as well as we could because our vision is a bit blurry, or we're having to squint, or we're having to focus more, we're having to, make our screens bigger, or compromise leaning forward, leaning back. We're doing things either unconsciously or subconsciously that's compromising our vision, that we're trying to find a way to get things done, but you're not going to be as productive, or you may not be as rested, or you might be straining, headaches, those kind of things, which again slows down your productivity. It slows down, or doesn't, obviously it hampers your quality of life, right, as well. And then therefore you can't perform at your best. So, vision absolutely is one of the critical, facets. But even safety, like just driving, people go, oh yeah, I'm starting to struggle seeing the street signs, but you extrapolate that, or okay, you can't see the street signs as well, but what else potentially are you missing? Those kind of things. Or, you go on a holiday, for example, and you're not seeing the mountaintop, the snow-capped mountains, or the volcano, or whatever it is, the bird, this or that. You're not picking things out, and you miss out on that. So that may not be tangible in terms of a monetary perspective, but that's quality of life as well. So what are you missing out on that could be easily detected and helped and provided a solution with by just getting your eyes tested? At least if everything's good, then hey, great. Then you know where you stand, and then just get checked regularly so you can maintain that and continue to be operating at your best.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And that's really, like, I think for a very long time, and obviously you're aware of my story, and I probably mention it probably way too many times on each of the podcasts, but, for those that don't know, like
it's an important message. So
it is. And, like I had a stroke, last year, around this time last year, actually. So probably about, 20 days out from its anniversary, right?
Right.
And, like I've had an amazing recovery, but at the same time, I shouldn't have had a stroke. You know what I mean? I'm 28.
Way too young.
Yeah, I'm 28, at the time, 27. And, like if I look at my life, if I rewind and have a look at it, I wasn't taking care of my health. I was eating shit food. I was putting God knows what in my stomach. I was drinking every weekend. There's other reasons why I was drinking every weekend. It wasn't normally like that, but I was drinking every weekend, and almost weekends. Not to the point where I was, passing out, but I was having a couple of drinks, and from leisure, and then I didn't have a healthy morning routine. I didn't do any breath exercises. I didn't, go and get professional help, in terms of my health in any capacity whatsoever. I completely neglected that part of my life. Stress built up. I wasn't exercising. There's a whole long list.
Yeah.
And, and then I had a stroke. Not to say that everyone's going to have a stroke if, you don't take care of your health. I mean, maybe you're built differently, but, it's still the fact that there's a possibility. So I just think it's so important for people that they do go and spend that time with their health. Even if you're a health professional, I feel like, I mean, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like health professionals are probably more likely to neglect their health than others. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, they're the worst, man. Like most health professionals, I guess, similar to maybe parents as well, right? Parents always put their kids first, or they put, or maybe mums particularly, maybe they always put other people first and they put themselves last. And health professionals certainly are like that as well. They all, they're so consumed day to day by looking after other people, like, oh, I'll be right type of thing. And that's not the way to work, right? If you want to continue to help as many people as you do, Dean, you've got to make sure you look after number one first. From a health perspective, eating, exercising, sleep, all those kind of things that you need to continue to do to make sure that you're operating your best, right? And I mean, lucky for you, you get a second chance. Like, okay, cool. You're taking it for granted. You're taking your life for granted. You're taking, everything you're doing in your life, perhaps, assuming for granted. Then a wake up call, bang, there you go. All right, well now, like, look at what you're doing now. It's like, it's so cool. You're giving back with renewed energy, renewed focus, making sure you're doing things that are important to you to make sure that you're making the impact and having that impact that you want to.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Darran, what's like for because I know for you, from what you've told me, there's a focus for you on helping more health professionals, right? What would be your message to them right now? Like, what do you think is probably top of their mind after this interview, and you want to send a message based on where their thoughts are going? What would that message be?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, I think as health professionals, absolutely we want to look after people and help people, and we want to make a difference in the world. And we have a great opportunity to do that by healing, by helping people. But at the same token, we need to make sure that we are of the mind, we have that mindset where we can it's sustainable, and that you are absolutely continue to drive that passion forward. So it's taking a moment, it's reflecting on where you've been, where you want to go as well, and then continue to take those strides. And sometimes for probably a few years ago for me, going on a podcast and talking quite openly about life wasn't something that I was very comfortable doing at all. Being probably a little bit of a natural introvert. But if you want to help more people, the only way you're going to do that is if more people hear your message and hear about your story. So, be authentic to you, share your story, share your journey, and find your voice. You've got to find that inner confidence to go, hey, there are people out there that want to hear what you're about, and absolutely want to be looked after by it because they believe in your values, they believe in your ethos, they believe in what you're about. So don't be afraid to stand up, have that voice. Stand proudly and go, hey, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm going to do, and I want to help people, but you need to make sure that you find a way that you can help people sustainably and continue.
I love that, Darran. Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. Listen, there's going to be so many people that watch this interview and they're going to be like, oh, geez, I need to hear more. Darran, I mean, how can they find you if they wanted to get in touch?
Yeah, look, Instagram is probably the main medium that I'm on in terms of my voice. So, Darran Yeow, Darran Yeow, Darran Yeow on Instagram. I've got Facebook as well, and also a website. So, and then Insightful Eye Care in terms of our practices here in Melbourne. If you are concerned about your eyes or want to make sure you're looking after your eyes, then definitely pop in and get your eyes checked to make sure that you continue to live the best life that you can.
Absolutely. And look, even if you're those that are listening, even if you're in California right now and you want exceptional eye care, then book a ticket and fly down and get exceptional eye care with Darran. It's just as simple as it gets, right?
We've got people all over Australia flying down to get their eyes checked. And then, obviously we're looking to expand overseas as well. So, we want to continue to help as many people as possible. So obviously the option with technology these days, we do telehealth appointments at the same time, so we're not restricted by physical location anymore. We've got the ability to help people on a global scale. So absolutely, you're right.
That's
just
awesome.
Go on our website and check us out.
That's awesome, Darran. Thank you so much for your time today, man. It's been good. It's been a really good interview. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Dean. Thanks so much for your time, man. Thanks again for the opportunity and giving us an opportunity to share our message with people.
You're very, very welcome. And for those that are listening at home, if you do want to get in touch with Darran directly, you can also email us at support@launchday.au. We'd be more than happy to put you in touch with him as well. And, whether you're listening at home, at work, in the car, Darran, believe it or not, some people listen to us in the shower. We've been given feedback. It's very interesting. Thank you so much to all of you tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, not only for us, but for Darran as well. Hit the bell icon to get notified for when these interviews come up and they get posted, because there's just so much value in learning from other people's experiences. And I think it's really important that everyone does that. So hit those subscribe buttons for both Darran and for LaunchDay, and anything else, really, any other podcast that comes through here as well would be great. And we'll see you again on the next one.